everybody, it's George from ShopTo and welcome to my summary of my thoughts of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare beta. Now this ran over the previous weekend on PlayStation and it's available for PS4 once again, Xbox One and PC this coming weekend. I believe it starts Thursday, so tomorrow at the time of recording this video. You can get access, I believe, just straight up, just going and getting the game. There might be early access for Xbox, I'm not entirely sure, but you will be able to play at some point this weekend for free. So go check it out. I definitely recommend you do, especially if you're a long-time COD fan that's kind of fallen out of love with the series of late. But this one is a bit of a return to form. More on that later, but without any further ado, let's get straight into my thoughts on Modern Warfare. So then, I have written an extensive article which highlights some of the pros or things I like about the game and some of the things I'm not too keen on about the game, and you can find that down in the description below. It's quite long, so I thought I'd create this video to kind of summarize my thoughts and also have a little bit of gameplay in the background. So mainly, like, my overall thoughts on the Modern Warfare beta. I know this isn't the full game and things can change between now and then. Some things I'm hoping they do, some things I'm hoping they don't. The game's alright. The gameplay is decent. It feels like... It does feel like a new Call of Duty, but it does still also feel like Call of Duty. It does feel like a snappy, fast, first-person shooter that's very well polished. Whilst I feel like the new engine is a step in the right direction, there are a few parts of it that I feel still need to be refined, such as the movement, and, you know, some elements feel a little clunky, but I feel like this is something that will change once they have more time with the engine, more time to refine it, and they add in new features further down the line. Just as we've had with the previous engine, some things, like if you look back to Black Ops 1, that looks and feels very different to some of the newer titles. They just evolve over time, and this is the first game on the new engine, so there's no doubt in my mind that the games will be smoother, especially when we see our next Treyarch title, which is supposedly next year, so we might see a lot smoother gameplay then, who knows. So the main talking points for me, aside from the fact that overall it's decent, minimap, I'm not going to beat around the bush, it needs to be there. There's no way that this game can ship without having a minimap in the multiplayer mode. I'm sorry, I understand why they were trying to shake things up to make it feel a little bit different and go for this whole realism thing, but personally, if you're going for realism, why can I see my teammates through the wall, but I can't see a minimap? Like, come on. Nobody asked for the removal of minimap, everybody wants it back, so I'm pretty certain, to be honest, that the minimap will be returning in the full game. If it doesn't, then people are going to complain. At least, if they are going to keep it, give us a mode where we can play with the minimap on. I don't care if it's called like classic team deathmatch or whatever, classic domination, just give us the minimap back. I don't care. I don't want to have to call in a personal radar, which doesn't do much. I don't want to have to get a UAV before the game actually goes anywhere, because I don't know if you noticed, but when there's no minimap, game's dead. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody knows where they're going. Nobody knows where the enemy team is. Nobody knows where their teammates are. So everybody's playing super defensive, super campy, and it completely kills the vibe of the game. Without it, as soon as the UAV comes on, completely different game. So put the radar back in and everyone will be happy. So the next issue I had, and it's probably the second major issue, I'm actually going to call it, yeah, a major issue, is the lighting. Some of the maps are just ridiculous, especially, I can't remember the exact names. One with the cave, you can't see anything in the cave, especially if you're coming from outside the cave into the cave. Whoever's in the cave and is shooting out at you coming in has such a big advantage because they can actually see you, whereas you can't see a thing in that cave. And then there's also, I think it was where B flag is on, I think it's the Hackney map. That building's too dark as well. These need to be brightened up. I need to be able to see, or players need to be able to see an enemy in front of whatever they're in front of. Say for example, yes, camouflage is a genuine thing, but I still need to be able to see that that is a player. Like, if he's in a position on the map where it's darker, then he's just got an advantage over me, and I don't think that is necessarily fair. I should still be able to see the enemy regardless of where they are and regardless of where I am. If I'm coming out of a cave and I'm hit with these god rays and I can't see anything, That's not okay, I don't think. So lighting needs to be changed, and also touching on that a little bit, I know it's not directly related, but audio also needs tweaking, because as soon as you're shot near, or somebody shoots a bullet near you, it's absolutely deafening in comparison to footsteps or anything else. The clatter of bullets coming just in your direction, whether it's a teammate or an enemy, is way too loud. That needs to change. Looking at the maps that are available in the beta, the 6v6 maps, don't got a problem with any of them. They're all pretty good. I wouldn't say they're outstanding. Hackney Docks or Hackney Yard, whatever it's called, is a little bit interesting because you can climb on pretty much all the roofs. The cave one is a little weird because it's a bit of an odd shape, really, if you want to try and avoid the cave. And the last one, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but the one they added later on is slightly bigger. That map's pretty cool. I like that one too. That was got like the shipping containers. It's got like, it feels like the one of the COD Ghosts maps. I can't name it because I didn't play that game that much, but it feels similar to a map we've played before. So the 6v6 maps are decent. 10v10, I don't want to touch that when the game releases. It feels like some weird hybrid between Ground War from traditional CODs, which was 9 versus 9, and then 32 versus 32 on its own dedicated map. It's like 9v9 worked because you knew it was going to be chaotic on a standard 6v6 map. 10v10 puts 10 people in a map that's like twice the size of a regular map, and it just feels awful, especially that map. I don't know what the heck it's called, but the 10v10 map in the beta was absolutely atrocious. I don't want to experience that map ever again in my life if I can avoid it. There was just so many places you could be shot from, and it was basically a big square with smaller squares in it. It was not good, but 10v10 is not for me. 32 versus 32 I think will be good because you'll be going into that knowing that it's going to be a bit of a mess. And 20v20 would be alright on those 10v10 size maps, because once again that would be like Ground War, where you know it's going to be chaotic, but you go in there because that's what you're after. 10v10 just doesn't work. Moving on to weapons, I thought they were pretty well balanced. There's a few things here and there. Obviously that, I can't remember what the pistol's called. Is it an M19? That pistol is dreadful. That needs to be fixed. Assault rifles do the kind of damage that they should be doing. Kill in like 2 to 3 hits sometimes. Two bullets for a headshot, I think I witnessed a few times. But it's like 3 to 4 bullets. That's fine. That time to kill feels alright. Feels a bit like classic COD, really, like COD 4 kind of thing. The burst guns, maybe a little bit overpowered. I didn't like that the FAMAS was the default class, because the FAMAS is a 1 burst machine, and that feels pretty OP. But yeah, ARs are good. SMGs, pretty good as well. They're not as good as ARs, which is how it should be. But they're also not terrible, which is nice, because they were a little bit in some of the recent games. The SMGs have been a bit pants. So I'm happy that they feel good too. Shotguns are probably about right. I haven't had that much shotgun experience, but they seem to do enough damage and have a bit more range to them. So I'm all for shotguns. I like a good bit of shotgun gameplay, as long as they're not too broken like we've had in previous years. LMGs need a buff, in my opinion. I know they shouldn't be used as an alternative to an assault rifle, but I do like when I'm doing my camo challenges, so once I've done assault rifles, to then have the LMGs to do that I can use on these AR maps. They should have lower mobility, which they do, but they should also not have this uncontrollable amount of recoil like some of them do. I don't quite understand why that's the case, but hopefully they get a little bit of a buff. And sniping also needs a buff. As I said in my article, either they need to improve the movement and, you know, look and feel and speed of the snipers, or give us the attachments that speed that up a lot sooner than they do. Because I believe the pistol grip, you don't get the pistol grip until level 21, which is one of the main attachments that's going to improve that aim down sight speed and movement speed and stuff. That needs to be a lot earlier, in my opinion. Visually then, the game looks pretty damn good. This new engine is very different to the existing one, and it looks great. I'm quite impressed with how the game looks. As I said, apart from that lighting issue, I think the game is quite visually impressive, and I'm a big fan of how it looks, to be honest. It plays flawlessly at 60 FPS, I think. Didn't have any issues with FPS lag or anything like that on PS4 Pro. It does make it on PS4 Pro very, very loud, which is another reason why I haven't done a live commentary for this. But yeah, game looks great, game feels great, and ultimately the gameplay is there. There's just these few little issues that need to be solved, and we need to pray to the COD gods that we're not going to get an awful microtransaction season. And then I think this game could be, you know, I don't think it's going to be the best COD ever, but I think it could be a solid one that we play for a year. I know I've said this most years, and I think I said it for Black Ops 4, and I think I was almost right until they ruined it with microtransactions and that whole supply drop system that's just absolutely ridiculous. We know there are going to be supply drops in Modern Warfare, we just need to hope and pray that they're not terrible. So yeah, if you want to read my in-depth thoughts, check out the link down in the video description. You've got my thoughts there. It's all broken up into paragraphs and sections so you can see exactly what you're after. But if not, let me know what you think of the beta down in the comments below. And if you're going to be playing on Xbox or PC this weekend, are you excited to get onto the beta? We will of course have more content when the game launches in October, so make sure to keep an eye on ShopTo for that. My name has been George. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you all in my next video, which should be pretty damn soon. So thank you very much for watching. See you later.